Okay, we're going to talk about computing variables. And when you collect a data set, it will be a lot of work and it'll seem like you've got so much data you couldn't possibly want to do anything else. But sometimes you need to calculate a few extra things. So suppose, for example, that you have, as we do in this data set, we have a variable called income, and this is a yearly income. So what we want to do is we want to calculate a monthly income. So I'm going to go to, and you can imagine doing this for each person would be ridiculous. So I'm going to go into compute variable. I'm going to give my variable a name, month salary. And I'm going to say that this is equal to income. I'll click on income and move it over and divide it by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. So I'm going to click on OK. Now here you get output, and this is one place where you might want to keep track of your output and save it someplace, because if you have a new variable, it is oftentimes important to remember exactly how you computed that variable. So it's good to keep a record of this. So I'm just going to minimize this. And I'm going to go to the end of the data set. Now, we didn't look before, but I'm assuming you'll trust me. At the end of this data set, we have a new variable, which is called monthly salary. And this is 3,083, which when we go back and look at the first income, which is 37, it makes sense. 37,000 divided by 12 is 3,000 something. So that's our monthly income. I'm going to go into another data set here. This is a little data set that I mocked up for you. It has 5 subjects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it was a survey that had 4 questions. And each one of these questions was people answered on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree, 2 being disagree, 3 being neutral, 4 being agree, and 5 being strongly agree. So we have all these data points for individual questions, and this is very common. Suppose I want a score for the entire survey. Well, what I would do is I would go into transform. I would compute a variable, and I would say, let's call it total Q. And this variable is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4. Okay, and I'm just going to click on OK. And notice I'm getting a total here. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12. So these are my total scores. Well, suppose I have a total, now it's on a different scale. Suppose I want to see what the total is on a 5-point scale. Well, I can go back to compute variable. And let's call this compute variable 5-point. And so now I want the sum of these individual items divided by 4, because I have 4 items total. So I'm going to calculate that. So now it tells me, again, you can see why it's useful to keep this little log here. So now here is my scale, and again, 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. Now there's one other thing that you can use, actually there's many, but one other that we're going to talk about. Suppose that you have a questionnaire, and this is something you gave to students, and it's about, let's say it's elementary students, and it's about whether they like school or not. So question 1 is, I like school, strongly agree, disagree, blah, blah, blah. So question 1 is, I like my school. Question 2, the students in my school are fun. Question 3, I like my playground. Question 4, and this is actually often done. Question 4 is my teacher is mean. So it's obvious here that the first 3 questions are tilted in a positive slant, but the last one is sort of tilted in a negative way. So to have all these items oriented in the same way, we need to do something to change the values for question 4. So what we're going to do, question 4 was on a scale of 1 to 5. So the high number is 5. So we're going to add 1 to 5, and then we're going to go to transform and go to compute. Let me reset this. And now I'm going to say new question 4 is, I'm going to take 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 minus Q4. And we'll see what that is equal to. So now again, it's good to keep the log so I know what's what. So now notice my new question is 3. So if they were neutral here, they were neutral. If they were strongly disagree here, they became strongly agree. If they were strongly agree here, remember they're agreeing their teacher's mean, now they get a low score. And a low score indicates a more of a negative attitude towards school. 3 stays the same, and 4 again is reversed at 2. So it's possible to change all your items so they're oriented the same way. Then you go back and simply add your items and calculate an average again.